In the vast expanse of space, humanity has always sought answers to its greatest mysteries. But what happens when those answers defy every law of physics? On a distant planet shrouded in temporal anomalies, time itself becomes an adversary. A team of explorers ventures into this uncharted realm, only to find themselves trapped in endless loops, haunted by echoes of their own pasts, and pursued by forces they cannot comprehend. Will they unravel the secrets of this alien world, or be consumed by its paradoxes forever? This is Time Unraveled, the Paradox Planet Dash. Stay tuned for a journey where nothing is as it seems. And don't forget to subscribe for more mind-bending adventures across the cosmos. The spaceship descended through thick layers of violet clouds, its engines humming with calculated precision. Below lay a planet unlike any other, a swirling tapestry of colors that shifted unpredictably, defying logic and reason. Sensors aboard the vessel had detected something extraordinary here, something beyond human understanding. Time flowed erratically on this world, bending and twisting like liquid under invisible hands. For centuries, such phenomena were relegated to theoretical equations and speculative fiction, but now, proof existed right before their eyes. The crew consisted of 6 individuals, scientists, engineers, and survival experts, each chosen for their unparalleled skills and ability to adapt to the unknown. They knew little about what awaited them, save for fragmented readings suggesting the presence of structures buried beneath the surface. These ruins hinted at intelligence, perhaps even remnants of a civilization long gone. Yet none could have anticipated how deeply intertwined these ancient beings were with the fabric of time itself. As the ship touched down on soft, iridescent sand, the air shimmered around them, distorting light in ways that made reality feel malleable. Every movement carried weight, as though gravity itself hesitated to act consistently. The ground beneath their boots pulsed faintly, almost alive, responding to their presence with subtle vibrations. Strange whispers seemed to emanate from the horizon, indistinct yet persistent, urging them forward while simultaneously warning them away. It was a place where the rules of existence blurred, where causality faltered, and where the line between dream and reality dissolved entirely. Each step felt heavier than the last, not just physically but emotionally, as if the planet resisted their intrusion with quiet malice. Stepping onto the alien terrain felt surreal, almost dreamlike. Every movement seemed slightly delayed, as though the very act of walking required negotiation with some unseen force. Instruments aboard their suits registered anomalies immediately, showing wildly fluctuating timestamps and erratic energy signatures. It was impossible to tell whether seconds or hours passed between one step and the next. Perception alone could not be trusted. The landscape stretched endlessly, dotted with towering crystalline formations that pulsed faintly with inner light. Some crystals emitted low-frequency vibrations audible even through their helmets, creating an unsettling symphony that resonated deep within their bones. Others remained silent, yet glowed brighter when approached, as if responding to proximity. At first glance, there appeared to be no discernible pattern to these reactions, but closer inspection revealed intricate fractal patterns etched into their surfaces. These designs suggested deliberate craftsmanship rather than natural occurrence. Excitement mingled with unease among the team members. While they understood the significance of their discovery, none dared voice concerns aloud. After all, they had come too far to turn back now. The air smelled faintly metallic, carrying traces of ozone mixed with something unfamiliar, almost sweet. Breathing it in felt wrong, as though lungs rebelled against processing the alien atmosphere. Shadows cast by the sun, or whatever orb provided illumination here, shifted unnaturally, stretching longer than they should before snapping back into place without warning. Every glance over the shoulder revealed changes imperceptible moments earlier. Rocks rearranged, plants bloomed or wilted instantaneously, and distant mountains appeared closer or farther depending on perspective. Reality refused to hold still, constantly rewriting itself in ways both subtle and overt. Despite the disorienting environment, curiosity propelled them onward, driven by the promise of answers lurking just beyond the horizon. Their initial scans led them toward a massive structure half buried in the ground. Its architecture bore no resemblance to anything known to humankind, featuring sweeping curves and sharp angles that intersected without rhyme or reason. Strange symbols adorned its exterior, glowing faintly in hues that changed depending on perspective. Touching one caused ripples to spread outward, distorting nearby objects and momentarily reversing their positions. Time manipulation, once thought confined to theory, stood manifest before them. Despite the awe-inspiring nature of their surroundings, caution dictated every move. Each member carried advanced equipment designed to measure temporal distortions, but the data collected proved inconsistent at best. Readings jumped between milliseconds and millennia, rendering conventional interpretations meaningless. One scientist theorized that localized time fields overlapped, creating pockets where past, present, and future coexisted simultaneously. Another posited that the entire planet functioned as a living organism, its heartbeat synchronized with the flow of time. Both ideas sounded absurd, yet neither could be dismissed outright given the evidence. Progress was slow but steady, driven by curiosity and determination. The structure loomed ahead, casting elongated shadows that danced independently of the light source. Within its walls, faint echoes of voices whispered unintelligibly, teasing fragments of conversations held in languages unknown. Doors opened and closed seemingly of their own accord, revealing glimpses of chambers filled with artifacts suspended mid-air, rotating slowly as if caught in stasis. Attempting to interact with these relics triggered cascading effects. Duplicates materialized, timelines fractured, and memories blurred together. Was this a test? A warning? Or merely another quirk of the planet's chaotic chronology? Inside the structure, the air grew colder, heavier, pressing against them with palpable weight. Walls shimmered faintly, displaying scenes from moments both familiar and foreign. Fragments of memories flickered across their vision, not their own, but fragments borrowed from lives lived elsewhere, times experienced differently. Some images showed landscapes resembling Earth during various epochs, while others depicted civilizations so advanced they bordered on incomprehensible. Among these visions, recurring motifs emerged: faces staring blankly, cities crumbling into dust, stars collapsing into black holes. The deeper they ventured, the stronger the sensation became, an overwhelming sense of déjà vu coupled with dread. Certain sections of the corridor looped endlessly, forcing them to retrace steps they swore they'd already taken. Others opened into chambers filled with floating artifacts suspended mid-air, rotating slowly as if caught in stasis. Attempting to retrieve one resulted in bizarre consequences. Duplicate objects materialized out of thin air, each identical yet subtly altered. Was this a test? A warning? Or merely another quirk of the planet's chaotic chronology? The walls pulsed rhythmically, matching the tempo of their heartbeats, creating a hypnotic effect that dulled awareness of time passing altogether. Sounds echoed strangely, distorted beyond recognition, making it difficult to determine direction or distance. Every corner turned revealed new impossibilities, staircases leading upward only to spiral downward, mirrors reflecting alternate versions of themselves wearing expressions they didn't recognize. Fear crept in alongside fascination, whispering doubts that gnawed at resolve. Hours, or perhaps days, into their exploration, fatigue began setting in. Sleep eluded them despite exhaustion gnawing at their bodies. Their internal clocks had been thrown off balance, leaving them disoriented and irritable. Meals tasted bland, sounds echoed unnaturally, and shadows moved independently of their sources. Paranoia crept in alongside frustration, exacerbating tensions within the group. Arguments erupted over trivial matters, escalating quickly due to frayed nerves. Tempers flared, accusations flew, and trust wavered precariously. What started as camaraderie born from shared purpose devolved into fractured alliances and simmering resentment. Through it all, the structure loomed above them, indifferent to their struggles. Its corridors continued shifting unpredictably, leading them further away from exits they believed they'd mapped earlier. Attempts to backtrack often ended in dead ends or circular paths, reinforcing feelings of helplessness. Morale plummeted, threatening to derail the mission entirely. Yet amidst chaos, small victories kept hope alive. Discovery sparked renewed enthusiasm, however fleeting. Artifacts yielded clues pointing toward larger truths still hidden just beyond reach. The air inside the structure grew thinner, harder to breathe, as though oxygen levels fluctuated according to some unfathomable logic. Lights dimmed sporadically, plunging sections into darkness that seemed thicker than mere absence of illumination. Whispers grew louder, overlapping until individual words dissolved into cacophony. Sanity teetered precariously, balanced on a knife's edge between wonder and madness. One breakthrough came unexpectedly, triggered by accident rather than design. A stray beam from a handheld scanner struck a crystalline panel embedded in the wall, causing it to illuminate brightly. Patterns danced across its surface, forming sequences reminiscent of mathematical formulas. Recognizing potential importance, the team worked tirelessly to decode the message contained within. Hours blurred together as equations unfolded before their eyes, revealing insights into the mechanics governing the planet's temporal instability. According to calculations, time functioned not as linear progression but as multidimensional web connecting infinite possibilities. Events occurred concurrently along multiple strands, branching infinitely based on choices made or avoided. Understanding dawned gradually, accompanied by fresh waves of wonder mixed with terror. If true, then everything experienced thus far represented mere fractions of infinite realities unfolding simultaneously. Choices held monumental weight, capable of altering outcomes across countless dimensions. Realization brought clarity and crushing responsibility. How could anyone navigate such complexity without inadvertently unraveling existence itself? The implications weighed heavily on each member, burdening shoulders already strained by physical exhaustion. Doubts surfaced unbidden. Were they meant to interfere? Could meddling disrupt delicate balances sustaining life across universes? Questions multiplied faster than answers, spiraling into existential crises that challenged core beliefs about free will, destiny, and purpose. Yet curiosity burned fiercely, refusing to extinguish despite mounting fears. With newfound knowledge guiding them, the team pressed onward, navigating increasingly treacherous terrain. Corridors narrowed, ceilings lowered, forcing them to crawl through tight spaces illuminated solely by dim emergency lights. Breathing grew labored, muscles ached from strain, but resolve strengthened. Ahead lay promise of answers waiting patiently behind sealed doors guarded by mechanisms requiring precise timing to unlock. Failure meant entrapment within shifting labyrinths indefinitely. Success offered glimpses into origins of this enigmatic world, and perhaps means of escape. Patience paid off eventually, granting access to chambers containing relics radiating potent energies. Interacting with these items invoked vivid hallucinations transporting users to alternate versions of themselves existing parallel lives. Some witnessed triumphant futures achieved through perseverance, others glimpsed bleak fates wrought by poor decisions. Emotions ran high following encounters, sparking introspection and debate regarding implications. Could actions taken here influence destinies spanning galaxies? Or did fate operate independently regardless of interference? Shadows lengthened unnaturally, swallowing light greedily, leaving trails of cold uncertainty lingering behind. Footsteps echoed eerily, reverberating louder than warranted given enclosed spaces traversed cautiously. Each chamber entered introduced new variables complicating navigation exponentially, testing limits endurance patience sanity collectively individually alike. The hallucinations grew more vivid, blurring the boundaries between what was real and what existed only in their minds. Each team member began experiencing visions unique to their psyche. Some saw loved ones long deceased, others witnessed alternate versions of themselves achieving greatness or descending into ruin. These apparitions spoke directly to them, whispering advice, warnings, or cryptic riddles that left them questioning their sanity. Despite the chaos, patterns emerged within these delusions, hinting at a deeper connection to the planet's temporal anomalies. Symbols from the crystalline panels appeared repeatedly in their dreams, urging them toward specific locations within the structure. Guided by these subconscious prompts, the team pressed forward, navigating corridors that twisted unnaturally, folding back upon themselves like Mobius strips. Time dilation became palpable here. Seconds stretched into minutes, hours collapsed into fleeting moments, and entire lifetimes seemed to pass in the blink of an eye. The air thickened with static electricity, causing hair to stand on end and equipment to malfunction sporadically. Yet amidst the disarray, fragments of clarity surfaced, a map etched into the floor, glowing faintly underfoot, revealed pathways leading deeper into the heart of the labyrinth. Reaching the core chamber felt both inevitable and impossible. Every step forward required immense effort, as though gravity doubled with each meter gained. Fatigue weighed heavily on their bodies, but determination burned brighter than ever. At last, they stood before a colossal sphere suspended mid-air, pulsating with radiant energy. Its surface shimmered with iridescent hues, reflecting every color imaginable while simultaneously absorbing light around it. This artifact exuded an aura of sentience, responding to their presence with subtle shifts in its rhythm. Touching it triggered a cascade of sensations. Warmth flooded their veins, memories surged unbidden to the forefront of their minds, and voices echoed from some distant past. It was as if the sphere contained the collective consciousness of the planet itself, storing eons of history within its confines. Data streamed into their neural interfaces, overwhelming their systems with information too vast to process coherently. Visions of ancient civilizations flickered across their thoughts, beings who had mastered time manipulation, bending it to their will until hubris led to their downfall. Ruins scattered across the planet were remnants of their once glorious empire, now reduced to dust by their own recklessness. Understanding dawned slowly. This world wasn't merely a repository of temporal anomalies. It was alive, sentient, and deeply aware of their intrusion. The sphere pulsed faster, almost impatiently, demanding acknowledgement. Interacting with the sphere proved perilous yet enlightening. As they deciphered fragments of its stored knowledge, the team uncovered evidence suggesting their arrival had been anticipated for millennia. The beings who created this artifact foresaw the inevitability of outsiders discovering their world and embedded safeguards to prevent misuse of its power. Temporal loops, shifting landscapes, and psychological torment served not only as tests but also as deterrents against those unworthy of wielding such immense influence over reality. Yet, paradoxically, the sphere offered glimpses of hope, possibilities where humanity might learn to coexist harmoniously with the planet's erratic flow of time. To unlock these potentials, however, sacrifices would be necessary. Choices loomed large, forcing the team to confront ethical dilemmas they'd never imagined facing. Should they attempt to stabilize the planet's temporal flux, risking catastrophic consequences if they failed? Or should they leave it untouched, preserving its enigmatic nature but abandoning any chance of understanding its mysteries fully? Shadows lengthened unnaturally as debates raged among them, tempers flaring anew despite exhaustion. Trust fractured further, splintering alliances and pitting individuals against one another. Meanwhile, the sphere continued pulsing insistently, its glow intensifying with each passing moment, as though urging them to decide swiftly before irreversible damage occurred. A breakthrough came unexpectedly when one scientist, driven by desperation, reached out to touch the sphere without protective gear. Instantly, a surge of energy coursed through her body, flooding her mind with incomprehensible data streams. She collapsed, unconscious, but when she awoke hours, or perhaps mere seconds, later, she possessed newfound insight into the artifact's workings. Her explanation baffled even her colleagues. The sphere functioned as a nexus point connecting countless parallel timelines, allowing observation and potentially alteration of events across infinite realities. However, tampering with this delicate balance carried unpredictable risks. One wrong move could unravel existence entirely, erasing entire dimensions from the fabric of reality. Armed with this revelation, the team devised a plan to stabilize localized time fields temporarily, creating safe zones where rational thought and logical decision-making remained possible. Implementing this strategy required precise coordination, teamwork, and trust, qualities severely lacking after weeks of strain and conflict. Tensions eased slightly as shared purpose rekindled bonds frayed by paranoia and fear. Together, they activated devices designed to emit counterfrequencies capable of neutralizing temporal distortions momentarily. For the first time since landing, reality stabilized enough for coherent planning. But relief proved short-lived. The sphere reacted violently to their interference, emitting waves of destabilizing energy that threatened to undo all progress achieved thus far. Panic set in as the ground quaked violently, walls buckling under the strain of conflicting forces. Crystalline formations shattered explosively, sending shards flying in every direction. Equipment malfunctioned catastrophically, plunging sections of the chamber into darkness punctuated only by eerie flashes of light emanating from the sphere. Amidst chaos, instincts took over. Survival outweighed logic as the team scrambled to recalibrate their devices. Sacrifices became inevitable. One member willingly exposed themselves to lethal levels of radiation emitted by the sphere, buying precious seconds for others to adjust settings remotely. Their sacrifice worked. The counterfrequencies synchronized briefly, creating a fragile equilibrium that held just long enough for evacuation protocols to initiate. Escape routes materialized unpredictably, shifting positions constantly due to residual instability. Split-second decisions determined survival. Hesitation meant entrapment within collapsing structures or being consumed by cascading temporal rifts. Heart rates soared, adrenaline surged, and primal instincts drove them forward relentlessly. Just as collapse seemed imminent, a portal opened, a swirling vortex of light and shadow offering passage off-world. Without hesitation, they leapt through, abandoning behind artifacts, tools, and lingering questions about whether their actions had saved or doomed untold billions across countless dimensions. Emerging onto the surface felt surreal, almost dreamlike after enduring horrors below. The violet skies churned ominously, lightning arcing between clouds in chaotic patterns. Their ship awaited nearby, battered but intact, engines humming softly as automated systems prepared for departure. Climbing aboard felt like stepping into salvation, though none dared relax fully. Instruments indicated severe fluctuations in local space-time, suggesting widespread destabilization triggered by their interactions with the sphere. Liftoff proceeded haltingly, thrust struggling against invisible resistance attempting to drag them back toward the planet's gravitational pull. Once airborne, view screens displayed horrifying imagery. The landscape below writhed violently, mountains crumbling, oceans boiling away, and entire regions dissolving into voids resembling black holes. Had their interference accelerated the planet's demise, hastening entropy beyond repair? Guilt weighed heavily alongside relief, gnawing at consciences already burdened by moral ambiguity. Silence reigned aboard the vessel, broken only by mechanical whirring and occasional status updates delivered tonelessly by AI. No one spoke of what lay ahead. They focused solely on reaching safety, leaving reflection for later when emotions weren't raw and wounds still fresh. As the ship hurtled through space, leaving the chaotic planet far behind, a profound silence settled over the crew. The debates and arguments that had dominated their journey home now gave way to introspection. Each member retreated into their thoughts, grappling with the weight of what they had witnessed and what they had done. Some found solace in the belief that their actions, however flawed, had been necessary for survival. Others couldn't shake the feeling that they had meddled with forces beyond comprehension, potentially setting off a chain reaction that could ripple across galaxies. The sphere's final pulse before their escape lingered in their minds, a mixture of warning and resignation, as if it had anticipated their departure but mourned the consequences. Sleep became elusive, haunted by vivid dreams of timelines unraveling, civilizations collapsing, and faces of those left behind staring accusingly. The burden of knowledge pressed heavily on them. They were no longer mere explorers, but custodians of secrets too dangerous to share yet too significant to ignore. Upon returning to Earth, or rather, the remnants of humanity scattered across orbital colonies after centuries of environmental collapse, the team faced an entirely new set of challenges. Their debriefings stretched endlessly, conducted under layers of secrecy enforced by shadowy organizations claiming jurisdiction over extraterrestrial discoveries. Questions came relentlessly. What did you see? What did you learn? And most importantly, what did you bring back? Despite assurances of confidentiality, paranoia spread quickly among the crew. They began questioning whether their handlers truly sought understanding or merely sought to exploit the planet's technology for power and control. Whispers of classified experiments reached them, rumors of attempts to replicate temporal manipulation on Earth, risking catastrophic destabilization. Trust eroded further, both within the group and toward external authorities. Yet amidst uncertainty, one truth remained clear: the planet had changed them irrevocably. Its lessons about time, choice, and consequence resonated deeply, shaping how they viewed existence itself. Though physically distant, its influence loomed large, a constant reminder of humanity's fragility and hubris. As days turned into months, the crew drifted apart, each pursuing paths dictated by personal convictions shaped during their ordeal. Some dedicated themselves to advocacy, warning against reckless interference with natural laws. Others disappeared entirely, vanishing from public records without explanation. Only fragments of their stories surfaced publicly, cryptic references buried in academic papers or speculative articles dismissed as conspiracy theories. But late at night, when stars shimmered faintly through observation domes, memories of the Paradox planet resurfaced unbidden, whispering reminders of mysteries still unsolved. Humanity may have escaped its grasp, but the planet's legacy endured, a haunting testament to the thin line between discovery and destruction. Thank you for joining us on this journey through time and imagination. If you enjoyed this exploration of the unknown, don't forget to subscribe for more thrilling adventures across the cosmos.